Hippocrates doesn't have tomatoes, and cashew nuts. And what do you think about consuming coconut oil?
Well, we'll start with coconut oil, then go to cashew, and then tomatoes. So coconut oil has a whole lot of support at this point, and what science has shown us, and I completely concur with, there's a mid-range triglyceride that's in coconut oil that does help the brain. But to get enough for one person for one day, you'd have to take shockingly high amounts of coconut oil, which would completely reduce oxygen loads in your bloodstream. So I know that raw fooders love coconut because it's a great dessert, and you put agave syrup with it, etc. But it's not really a healthy food. It's one that if you said to me, I'm healthy, I don't have a gallbladder problem, I don't have a liver problem, and I'm going to take 4 tablespoons a week, that's not a problem. If you're an athlete and on a bicycle going up mountains, you may be able to take 8. But for the average person, you don't want more than that. If you are fighting a disorder that you have an oxygen problem to begin with, I'd avoid it like the plague. At this point, there's no company that I'm aware of, and I hope somebody can find one for me, that extract without heating and cooking the oil, because then it becomes a carcinogen. The coconut mid-range triglyceride, because if somebody could do that and preserve it, I think it would be a great supplement for them to make for people with dementia. Now, number 2, cashews are not raw in the overwhelming majority of cases. Again, there's no rule anywhere on the planet Earth that I've discovered, I've looked, where the word raw has to be raw. So a lot that you're buying raw is not raw. And cashews are one of them. It's in a very hard shell. It's like a mahogany wood shell. It's very difficult to open up. So what they do to open them up is they heat them. Now, since they don't roast them afterward, after they're open, they can get away with saying it's raw, because it's not post-roasted. And so any heated oil and fat becomes a carcinogen. And we've known that solidly for over 60 years in legitimate mainstream science. Tomatoes happen to be a fruit that are originating from the jungles of Brazil and South America. The Aztecs and Mayans used them as ornaments on the side of their temples. And it wasn't until the, quote, nicely sounding conquistadors, which were savages, came over and slaughtered these poor indigenous people. And they brought back to Europe the tomato that was used as an ornament. When famines came, then people started to eat it and it became very popular. When they discovered you can grow tomatoes that high in the mountains and in the desert, it became a popular food. And we have found in science tomatoes are really good for prostate and heart, and I actually believe it's for the brain and circulation. But the problem is, it has a little bit of sugar. So when people are having a conquest of a disease, we say to avoid it. It should never go on salad, because it's a fruit that should not go with a green, but it can be eaten with fruits. And in fact, always has to be right. I had a friend that decided not to be educated. He opened up auto body stores and became very successful. And he showed me in a book he had, he said, he's a very funny guy out of the